All right, the next movie on our list is arguably the best for the week. Leon, the Professional, or Leon, depends on where you come from. Jude, take it away. What is this movie all about?
All right. 1994, Leon, the Professional. Rated R with a runtime of 1 hour, 50 minutes. Had a budget of 150 million francs / 16 million US dollars. What do you think this brought in?
I'm sorry, did you say 15 million francs?
115 million francs.
Francs.
/ 16 million dollars.
Francs.
Why did you say it like we were stupid?
You broke, Alex. Congratulations.
Because
Dollars? Like a white trash dude with a Ford pickup. Stupid dollars.
Mon Dieu.
It's like these fucking things.
Give me another cigarette, you whore. You and your dollars.
American is such an ugly language.
Give me some of your rupees.
That's the dude from The Matrix when he's like French is just, it's like wiping your ass with silk.
That is
The
a fact.
Merovingian?
Yes.
That is a fact.
Oh, man.
Franc.
I don't know.
It's fucking gorgeous.
This is a damn good movie. I'm going to say it made $200 million.
Oh no, $83 million.
$46 million.
Oh, no.
I think that this was an underdog.
Yeah.
And it kind of came out of nowhere. And I think it's gained since it came out. But originally, I don't know if people
Is
knew
this
what
a
to do
cult
with
movie?
this.
It was actually kind of a filler film because originally Luc Besson was developing The Fifth Element. And because of Bruce Willis's schedule, he had a lot of time on his hands. And so like he took the crew for The Fifth Element and went off and made this just to keep them busy. And this actually ended up being a much more respected and remembered movie than The Fifth Element was ultimately. So
I just love the director's name.
Luc Besson.
Luc Besson.
Besson.
And one of my favorite movies is so stupid. It's The French Kiss with Meg Ryan.
I love that movie.
And, oh my God, I love you so much right now. And like her counterpart in that, his name is Luc
Yeah.
Teston.
Yes. Oh my God. I haven't thought about that movie in forever.
I love
It's
that movie
such
so
a
much.
gem.
Do you want to come over and just watch it one night?
Yes.
And we'll
I
order
like French
pizza?
movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
You like French
I
movies?
do. I love French movies.
Dude,
My favorite.
I am getting to know new
No,
things.
my favorite French movie.
What is your favorite
It's
French
called
movie?
Les Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's very good.
Dude, how the fuck did you come up with that?
Well, you just put the word "le" in something, and it immediately becomes French.
Vader is very,
Les Star Wars.
Very upset.
Vader is very skilled at turning American words into French, like
That's right.
like garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage with a French accent.
I want JT to make a French poster for Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Les
There it
Raiders.
is.
This is one of those times I'm not going to forgive you for a while. I got so built up, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is a new thing I have in common with Vader."
Oh,
I
man.
got the Ethel mug
No, French-
because you have the Lucy.
Because French
glass.
movies suck.
Dude,
It's terrible.
what the hell?
But hey,
Dude.
it is.
Please give us the synopsis
I'm
for...
not going to recover from this for a while. I'm not going to financially recover for this for the rest of my life.
Again, I apologize to our listeners because
No
we are
absinthe
off
for
the
him.
rails.
We're
Yeah.
like really.
Tequila and absinthe, they're just off the
Oh,
menu for
can you
him.
mix them?
The Professional.
Will that
Yes.
make you horny and trip balls at the same time? What?
Yes.
Jude, The Professional.
Okay.
Synopsis, please.
Gary Oldman is hanging on by the hairs of his perfect chinny chin chin when Natalie Portman's piece of shit father cuts his drugs in order to take a bigger payday. And it's the last fucking straw. Fuck.
Jude.
Oh God, I can't drink no more.
Tastes like bubblegum.
You need to start over.
Why does it taste like bubblegum?
Gary Oldman snaps and kills her whole family, including her 4-year-old brother. Matilda could give two shits about the brutal slaying of her dad, sister, and stepmother. But when she learns about her kid brother's death, she vows to get revenge on Gary Oldman and his dirty cop squad responsible. Fleeing to her neighbor Leon, who happens to be an assassin, she teaches him to read, and he teaches her the trade of cleaning. When Leon refuses to go after DEA agent Gary Oldman, Matilda devises a plan to take him out herself. Her plan goes immediately wrong, and she finds herself in the clutches of the cops who killed her family until Leon rescues her, which puts them both on the radar of the murdering cops. Discuss.
This movie is freaking flawless.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I was so nervous to rewatch it because I haven't watched it probably since the 90s. And I was like, I don't think this is going to hold up well. Because I remember like the sexual innuendo of a very young Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
But when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, this actually is so responsible.
We just might as well address it right off the bat because it's the biggest elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Okay, so Natalie Portman is like what, 11, 12?
She's 12.
12 years old?
She was 12 when she filmed this, and also her character is 12.
And there's some scenes where she is doing some, I guess you could say, sexual things, and Leon is in the room, but it's done in such a way like Leon is obviously uncomfortable with the whole situation. He's going like, I'm not supposed to be here right now.
Yeah.
Like he does that, and then it's done tastefully because she's fully clothed. She's never in a point where like, oh man, that's way too much skin for a 12-year-old. Like it's never crossed that line, but it's like, it's done in a way that I feel like a young girl of that age who looks up to these idols like Madonna. She was mimicking Madonna, and who else was it? Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
So like she's looking up to these feminine idols and she wants to mimic them. So she does these little acts to try and get Leon to guess who she's pretending to be.
Yeah, they're playing a game of guess who. And
Yeah.
she dresses up and performs an act, and he's supposed to guess who.
Right. It's done in such a way that I'm like, it does ride the line, because as I was watching it, I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be watching this freaking part. But
Yeah.
it's
done so accurately.
Yeah.
So I need to point out that there are actually two versions of this movie. There's like the American theatrical cut, and then there's like the regular cut that was like Luc Besson's like original cut. And in the original cut, there's a lot of scenes between Natalie Portman's character Matilde and Leon, and basically Natalie Portman is in love with Leon, and so like there are lots of scenes where she's trying to like kind of seduce him or like come onto him or express her love for him, and it's very awkward. Yeah, you know, because like we understand that like this is just a girl who's been starved for love her whole life, and the first one who kind of comes along and shows her any type of like, you know, responsibility or affection or something like that, you know, she mistakes that for romantic love.
Exactly.
And so like in the international version of this movie, all these scenes are in there and it's very awkward. And so like when they cut the American theatrical version, they took all these things out and made it more of a straightforward action film.
Okay.
So there are two different versions of this movie. We watched the international version. Now, there's some things I need to tell you about this story, which might be a tad bit uncomfortable. And that is in the international version. So in the opening scene where we see just how badass of an assassin that Jean Reno's character Leon is, there's a character who's like a prostitute, and she's like this blonde chick who's there sleeping with like the mark.
They briefly show her in this version. Yes.
Yeah. So like she's briefly shown, and that actress is played by a former child actress from Europe. Her name is May Wen. It's kind of like Madonna. She's just known as like that one name, but she was a young actress in Europe. And when she was 11 years old, she met Luc Besson. And when she basically fell in love with Luc Besson at 11, and they started dating when she was 15.
According to the story.
Well, according to them. So
wait.
Luc Besson dated a 15-year-old?
Yes. So the actress who played the prostitute at the beginning of this movie, her name is May Wen, and she was a child actor in Europe. When she was 11 years old, she met Luc Besson.
Do you mean Jean Reno?
No, I mean Luc Besson, the guy who wrote and directed.
Oh, the director.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she met him when she was 11, fell in love with him. They started dating when she was 15 years old. They married when she was 16 and had a kid.
Okay.
Damn.
So this movie is semi-autobiographical in the sense of like the relationship between Leon and Matilde reflects the relationship that Luc Besson had with this actress May Wen, and she went on to play the Blue Diva in The Fifth Element.
Fifth Element?
Yeah, and so like she was 20 in The Fifth Element when she was playing that alien, and that's the movie where Luc Besson left her and their child to be with Mila Jovovich.
What? I thought Mila Jovovich was with P.W.S. Anderson.
P.W. Stanky. No.
Yeah, P.W.
So
Stank.
that came after her relationship with Luc Besson, because Luc Besson's the one who basically put her in her first movie.
It should be
and made her an actress.
P.W. Stank Anderson.
It's just
Because it stands for the S.
Just like 3 degrees of P.W.S. Anderson.
Yeah, but one of the things that makes this movie stand out is the relationship between Matilde and Jean Reno's character, Leon. And the reason it rings so true is because Luc Besson was basically writing about his actual relationship with his, wife at the time.
Soon to be wife.
And, Jean Reno, for his part, he was like very uncomfortable with a lot of this stuff. And so he made the specific decision to play Leon as like kind of slow, so that the audiences wouldn't look at him as like a predator. Like they'd see him as like he's a simple guy.
It does not come across as slow. It comes across as just knowing exactly who he is.
Protective. I got more of like because when I was watching
like a moral code.
Yeah, when I was watching this movie, I didn't get like a romantic relationship between. I mean, obviously Natalie Portman's character has this interest in him because she doesn't know what love is, and she's just pretending. Yeah. She's like, this is what I think love is. This is what love is in the movies and stuff like that. His character to return that love is, I see it more of as like a father figure. Where he's like, I'm just here to protect you and to make sure that you're safe. Like that's
you have no one and I have no one.
Yeah. Like his kind of relationship with Matilde is more of like a father-daughter thing.
Yeah.
But he wanted to kind of like assuage the audience from thinking that like, this is an inappropriate relationship by playing Leon as someone who is more innocent, more childlike. And so like it comes off as like Leon is kind of like just a grown child in a sense. Mm-hmm. And I think that's also another one of the reasons why Matilde kind of relates to him so much, is because he's on her level in certain ways. And in certain ways, she's like more adult than he is. But it's very interesting the way that they had to construct this movie in order to like kind of side skirt.
It rides that line.
Yeah, it really does.
Okay, so I want to talk about that dynamic.
Okay.
So I am the only person in the room who has been a 12-year-old girl.
Granted.
Great.
V, do we need to fact check that?
I can't feel my teeth.
So from that perspective,
okay.
Upon rewatch, as a decidedly adult person, like
Right.
the first time I saw this was in 1994 when it came out, maybe 95 when it was on like TV or something. And in my head, it was a lot more sexually oriented than upon rewatch.
Okay.
Like the night that we were watching this, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to watch this.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to hold up. There's so much sexual innuendo between like underage Natalie Portman and Jean Reno. And then upon rewatch, I was like, oh God, this is actually really accurate to like how this was written from a 12-year-old girl perspective, as far as like when you're a girl, you are a child who is treated like a child. And then suddenly it's almost overnight you are treated as though you are a sexual being. And that's way before you are an adult woman. You have to dress a certain way and not incur like the male gaze and not incur that kind of attention. And it just kind of happens overnight for a girl. And no one ever teaches you like the middle ground, the in-between of going from being a child to this sexual human. And this really captures it.
Yeah, and the character of Matilde is constantly trying to like sexualize herself in order to attract Jean Reno.
Yeah, because she's in that in between of she's a child.
Yeah.
But she's a preteen who has the hormones of a teenager who is trying to experiment with what that means, and it's so well captured and it's very respectful of this phase in a person's life, and how Jean Reno's character reacts to it is also very respectful. I thought.
And that scene where they're playing Guess Who, so like she comes out as Marilyn Monroe and she's like, "Happy birthday, Mr. President."
Yeah, I was like,
that was weird.
Well, you know, what's funny is that like, so she didn't know who Marilyn Monroe was, right? Because she's so young, and she'd only seen like, we talked about Wayne's World in our last episode, so she'd only seen Mike Myers' rendition of Marilyn Monroe's "Happy Birthday, Mr. President," and so she was just mimicking Mike Myers in that moment because she had
wow.
no idea who Marilyn Monroe was.
And I think it's I think pretty clear in the scene that Leon knows exactly who she's doing, but he doesn't want to like portray himself to be on board with this situation, so he just says, "I don't know."
Yeah,
No, I don't believe that at all. Like, he's so insulated, like he doesn't know anything about modern pop culture. And the one scene that we see him actually go out and have a good time is he goes and he sees a Fred Astaire movie. And so like he's into like those older movies. We know that he can't read. We know that he can't write. And English is his second language. And so like he just likes these like classic movies, and he doesn't know anything about modern society. But the other thing I want to talk about, so this was Natalie Portman's first movie, but the guy who steals this movie,
Gary Oldman.
Gary. Oh,
Oldman.
thank you. I was going to talk about Gary Oldman,
He's
dude.
so fucking bonkers.
He's a freaking schizo. He's like when he's taking his pills, and he's like, oh,
He does
and
that
like,
little
the
little
reaction
shake
to the
thing.
pills.
Yeah. Oh,
it
it's
just
so
makes
creepy.
you think, what are those?
Yeah. Is it like is it a medication he has to take to stay on board with everything? Is it something?
Is it the thing that he has to take to keep him from turning into a werewolf?
Yeah.
Because like his reaction is so like, I'm about to turn into a
Yeah.
werewolf.
But just,
I'm not going to turn into a werewolf.
My theory has always been that it's some type of like super Adderall.
Okay.
That just gives him like the superior focus, because he's usually like hopped up like on some type of drugs most of the time.
Like DEA agents have access to
everything.
whatever.
Yeah. I wanted to mention, because we're talking about Gary Oldman. So the opening, not the opening, but the big thing that starts this movie off is the assassination of Natalie Portman's entire family. And in that scene, like the whole time I was watching this, I just kept thinking, I'm like, wow, that dad is a piece of shit.
Piece of
Yeah.
shit.
Like he's just sitting in his room, like cowered in a corner while his entire family gets assassinated. Like, okay, yes, there's little that you could do to stop that, but at least
You're
try.
listening to your family get murdered.
Yeah, like do literally anything to try and stop that from happening. Like that's all you got to. But he's just sitting
His
there.
wife's just having a bubble bath the whole time. He didn't even try.
Dude, it broke my heart when they killed the little kid.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
And
supposed
you
to.
saw that
Yeah.
coming too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and to you guys know I don't like kids in movies, right? Like I despise children in movies. The scene where Natalie Portman is walking up to the door, to Leon's door, with the bag of groceries, and she's like
It's
Open the
so
door.
real.
Open the door.
trying to hold herself together so she doesn't give herself away. Like I was like, oh, that's why Natalie Portman is Natalie Portman.
Yep.
Like this being her first movie.
She's a good
Holy crap.
That's why Thor picked her to be his love interest.
So, in that scene where she's going up to Leon's door, so this being her first movie, she didn't quite know how to cry on cue quite yet. And so Luc Besson had someone spray mint oil in her eyes, and she was in
Jesus.
physical
Oh,
pain.
that's like my coffee this morning with Vader.
Yeah,
He kept
so,
crying.
so she was in physical pain that entire scene, and that helped her performance.
God
That's
damn
awful.
it. Can they do that to 11-year-old people?
No.
it was the 90s,
It was
man.
the 90s,
Dude,
man.
you put mint oil in your eye, that'll burn your eyeball
That was the
out.
point. That was like that
And
made
her
cry.
like standing there crying and going, please, was real. It
Yeah.
wasn't even in the script.
Okay, that changes things a little bit because I thought she was just a damn good actor.
Now I'm pissed
she
off.
is. She
now
is.
I'm mad at the movie makers. My God,
But-
that's just insane.
But getting back to Gary Oldman, so like in that scene where he like goes through like the beaded curtain and all that stuff, and he goes and he talks to the father, and he's like kind of talking about Beethoven and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they shot that scene something like 50 different times, and every single time Gary Oldman did something different. Like it was not scripted. He would just ad lib, and that was the whole thing about Beethoven was the one that they ended up going with. But basically, Luc Besson just told Gary Oldman like, do whatever the fuck you want.
As you should with Gary Oldman.
And so like that first scene where Gary Oldman kind of like talks to the father about, like you've got until noon tomorrow to get us our stuff back. So in the movie, he goes up and he whispers in his ear and stuff like that. And then like he like walks away. And originally in the script, like it doesn't play out like that. But Gary Oldman did that to the actor, and the actor's reaction was genuinely freaked out. And so like when you see his face in that scene,
whoa.
that's his genuine reaction to Gary Oldman. And the most famous scene in this movie is when Gary Oldman screams "everyone" when after someone asks him like what do you mean everyone? And he did that as a way to try to kind of punk Luc Besson, like he wanted to make Luc Besson laugh. And so like he went up to the sound guy beforehand. He's like, man, take your headphones off because I'm going to scream something. And so like, when they're shooting the scene and Gary Oldman turns around, he's like, everyone.
Yeah.
Immediately after that, everyone just busted out laughing. But Luc Besson thought that like it was such a badass moment that he put it in the fucking movie. And
It is a badass moment because the dude's like, he's on the edge. He's literally losing the battle. Leon's like taking out his entire force, and he's just real calmly,
bring me
everyone. And the guy's like, "The fuck do you mean?" Oh, sorry.
I'm out.
You have a beer right next to you.
He's like, "What do you mean, everyone?"
Oh, I
He
got
goes,
a mix.
Yep.
beer and what is it?
Absinthe?
Is it?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Jude derailed the conversation. Yeah, that scene was cool. I don't know what else to say about this movie, but it's just,
I feel like Gary Oldman should have won an Oscar for this.
it was
Agree.
amazing. It was
Yeah,
so amazing.
Gary
His
Oldman
character
is
was creepy.
Are you aware that Gary Oldman plays a pivotal character in Harry Potter?
I was not.
Yeah, he plays a really big deal, and then he dies terribly.
Sirius Black.
I'm sorry.
I love you, Sirius.
The way you just said that was like, yeah, he plays like a really big deal. Okay.
I wasn't even trying.
He's in Le Harry Potter.
Yes.
Le Harry Potter. The French version.
The French
Stop
version.
making things falsely French.
Can I just say, so like as a young kid in high school watching this movie, I was obsessed with this film. This was Luc Besson's first big American release. Previously, he had
You
done.
became obsessed with Luc Besson in general, didn't you?
Yeah. So,
As a result of this
so
movie?
like Luc Besson, he had made like these really kind of impactful French films like La Femme Nikita and stuff like that. And this movie was actually inspired by a character that Jean Reno played in La Femme Nikita called a cleaner. And so when he came and made this movie, this was kind of like his first big American release. And I was in high school. I was kind of like, gearing up to go to film school and stuff like that. And when I saw this movie, I was just so freaking blown away by the language of film that Luc Besson was able to put on the screen. Like the entire opening scene where he's taking out like all the bodyguards of like his mark. There's so much really interesting stuff there. Like for instance, when that screen comes down and he like shoots a bunch of people and the bullet holes go through it, and then like you see his eye go.
Yeah, that's super creepy.
Yeah, and then he like comes out of the darkness and puts a knife up against the guy's throat.
He's like a super villain. He just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. And like Luc Besson, especially in the scene where like the family's about to be killed, where like there's just this very long, slow shot of all the different people, and you don't know they're cops at this point, but they just kind of come down this hallway and take their positions, and then they introduce Gary Oldman, and he like takes that pill and he kind of like does that weird cracking thing.
Wolf's out.
Yeah. And there's just so many parts to this movie that are just like so cinematically brilliant. And at the time, like American audiences hadn't seen stuff like this before. This was actually a very influential movie in the 90s in terms of like how they film action and how you intertwine kind of like high concept action with drama and stuff like that. And this movie it's one of my all-time favorites. Like it's a very well-made movie.
It's excellent. Speaking of like doing these cinematic things that just make you feel something in your stomach, at the end of this movie when Leon is exiting the area, he's got that with this huge epic battle that he had with the cops, which was a ton of fun to watch, and it was so intriguing, and I was like glued to the screen. He essentially escapes. He gets away, and he's going to go meet up with Natalie Portman's character, and he's walking down this hallway, and you can see the street, and it's like the light at the end of the tunnel, and the camera angle switches from third person to first person, and you see Gary Oldman's coming up behind him, and the camera just falls, and you get that like flash of light. Dude, freaking heartbreaking. Like I was watching that scene, I was like, oh my God, he just got like it just because it literally puts you in the perspective of the person who's so close to getting away.
The thing that elevates this movie from like a typical action or like assassin movie is like the hardcore emotion that you feel, because you spend the entire movie learning to love Leon and learning to love his relationship with Matilde and stuff like that. And so in the end, when it is a tragic ending, but at the same time, he kind of like fulfills the revenge fantasy of Matilde by killing the people who killed her family. It's satisfying, but it's also like very melancholy.
Oh, it's so tragic. Okay, so you get to the end and you're like, yeah, Leon got revenge for her family's death and stuff like that. But you know the true villain of this movie? Tony's a dick.
Tony's a dick. I want to talk about something before we get to Tony, though.
Okay.
So the other scene that was really heart-wrenching, but to a lesser degree of that one when Leon falls, is so
I thought you were gonna cry. I was like, oh no.
No. I went into an absent hole for a second.
Vader's still in his.
So like Leon has said to Matilda, I'm not going to do this. It's not safe. It's dangerous. We need to let it go. We need to just like pull back, do our own thing, go somewhere else. And meanwhile, he's been systematically taking people out, or at least that was his plan the whole time. And she doesn't find that out until she's in the clutches of Gary Oldman. And they're talking about like, oh shit, somebody came in and like took out some of our men.
Yeah.
He's been like taking people out at the bottom on his way up to Gary Oldman. And if she had done nothing, his plan probably would have succeeded.
Wow. I never thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
But she was like, you said you weren't doing anything, so now I'm taking it on myself.
Yeah. She writes that letter to him.
And that scene where he rescues her and then like she hops into his arms and like her feet are like dangling and stuff like that.
It's so, oh God, it's so heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And then Tony, go.
So Tony's a freaking.
He's the fucking worst. I hate him.
Okay, explain who Tony is.
Okay, so Tony is basically. I got a drink because she said the F word.
I didn't know we were still doing that.
Why does it taste like bubblegum? So Tony is Leon's basically his handler. And I'm assuming Leon came from France, came across the water, and came to New York. Are they in New York? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he comes to New York as an immigrant, and this Tony character, who's like part of somehow related to the Italian mafia, takes him under his wing and utilizes him basically as a tool to
uses
him. And he's like, yeah, it's $5,000 a head for everybody that you kill. But he's like, but don't worry about it. I'll be your bank. I'll keep this all. It's all up here in Uncle Tony's head. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, he's obviously just freaking railroading this guy and cheating him out of his money throughout and you're watching this. And Leon's kind of ignorant of the whole thing because he's not used to the culture and he doesn't know what he's doing. But he's good at what he does. And he's just assuming that this guy has good intentions. That already was like, I was pissed off at Tony for that.
Yeah.
But then what was really just put the nail in the coffin is at the end of the movie, after Leon is gone, he's dead.
Gives her $100 fucking dollars.
Leon has told him, hey, like, if there's anything that happens to me, I want all of my money that I've collected over the freaking years that I've been murdering people for you to go to this girl. And
he was 19 when he started.
Damn.
He's close to 50.
He's got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of bounties in his bankroll.
All he buys is milk and plant food.
God damn it, dude. And Tony's
the plant. I love the plant. The plant's my favorite character.
Oh, Vader has entered the chat.
I love the plant. He likes the plant everywhere.
He just woke up, okay?
He was in an absent
He was
coma.
very,
hey, man.
very
Cheers,
important
mate.
plant character.
It's extremely important plant. Hey, look, man, as somebody who grows plants in my backyard to try to like stave off the desert, I can understand the love relationship you have with
Did
the plant.
the plant have a name?
Yeah. Well, Leon said
it's
Le Plant. Leon specifically said that the plant was him at a certain point because we just talked about how like the similarities between him and the plant.
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie, Matilda goes and plants the plant in the yard of the school that she's at. And in a way, like that's her connection to Leon.
Yeah.
But what even pissed me off more about Tony is he's the one who gave up the location of Leon so that the police could go and kill him.
Tony,
they tortured him.
He got Leon killed.
Yeah.
Tony's the smartest guy in the movie. What do you guys
Wait, explain that.
He's alive. He's got all the fucking money.
He's not the smartest. He's the best at surviving.
He's like, hey, what you doing over there?
Uncle Tony's
Uncle Tony got you covered. You need $100.
Nobody pulls over Uncle.
This is no big deal.
This is the worst part for me.
What's up?
So Leon's dead. There's no one to take care of her. She says, "Can I just have a job?"
Oh, she wants to be an assassin.
Also, she'd probably accept a job. He says, okay, well, what can you do? And she goes, I can clean. And he goes, no, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
This is the origin story of that terrible Netflix movie we watched last year.
Which one?
I don't know. One of those
Jolt or
one of those chick assassin movies.
Well,
no.
Funny enough, the sequel to this movie.
There's a sequel?
Well, no,
Oh.
there's not a sequel, but the planned sequel that Luc Besson had that he actually created ended up becoming Columbiana with the Zoe.
Love Nikita.
Dude, I just watched that the other day.
Okay,
so that was originally supposed to be Matilda in that movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That'd
he
be cool.
tells her to basically piss off,
hmm
and he gives her $100.
Yeah.
That to a 12-year-old might seem like a lot of money.
Oh, it pissed me off.
However, he's basically just saying what the motel guy said, like, I don't agree with this, so you're on your own.
Yeah.
He's sending her out to do the only thing that a young woman can do is go sell herself on the street.
You think that's what to...
Yes, 100%. He
wow.
was like, go do whatever it is. You can figure out how to do. It's not my problem.
Whoa.
And he sends her away with $100 in her pocket, even though she has like what 20,000 in her pocket.
Easily. Yeah, because she stole her dad's money
Yeah.
out of the floorboards at
So
one point.
she has more money than Tony does.
Yeah.
But Tony is supposed to take care of her, and he doesn't. He sends her out to the streets, literally.
Yeah, Tony is the true villain of the movie.
Yeah,
like
he's the
Gary
worst.
Oldman is the one who's like pushing the narrative.
Gary Oldman is the antagonist.
Yes.
Tony is the villain.
He's the villain. He's a piece of shit. At the end of this movie, I hated Tony.
Piece of
Cheers.
shit.
Cheers to that.
Lemaired.
Lemaired. Cheers.
Yes, he is the piece of shit, Le Merde.
But anyway, Vader, you've been so quiet lately. Are you all right, buddy? I need to check on you.
The Le Plant.
Do we need to check on your pulse? You're good?
I can't feel my gums.
You're not having a stroke.
Do you want
You're
to do
just
final
having an
thoughts
absinthe.
on Leon the Professional? What do you got for us?
It
bud?
was
Did you
okay.
enjoy?
Yeah,
It was
give
just
us a
okay.
rating.
It was all right.
Give us a rating, bud.
3.
Okay. Oh, that was a half sip because I half said. Jude. Sorry. Finish your drink. Final thoughts. Give it a rating.
So I always put these movies in the genre or the realm
Right.
that they're
Yeah.
in.
You have a weird
So,
rating system.
Goofy.
it
Goofy
is-
ass rating system.
It is my Leon.
It's my rating system.
You're all trying to steal my shit and you're doing it terribly.
I'm not doing it terribly. It's Le Plant.
Le Plant.
I'm going to
Le
fucking
Bebec.
stab you.
They put mayonnaise on their shit and everything, man. It's disgusting.
I love mayonnaise. Dude, mayonnaise rules.
I didn't go into Burger King.
Royal cheese.
Royal with
So
cheese.
not that Miracle Whip shit. Fucking mayonnaise.
Look at Gary Oldman in this scene, dude.
Oh, he's a psycho. in this
fucking
movie.
psycho. Oh, I
Gary-
said it again.
What is that Hawaiian punch?
I don't know. It tastes like bubblegum.
Oh my god.
All right.
It's a regular ass drink.
Okay,
right.
cool.
Settle down.
Jude, final thoughts. Give it a rating.
Okay, so as far as it like being in the realm of Assassin's movie, this is a 5-star movie.
Wow. Okay.
As far as it being in the realm of a 1994, 5, whatever, whenever it came out, I forget, 94, 95. I have it right in front of me. I should just look. 94. 4-star movie
Okay.
for things that also came out in 94. Like, this is a great movie. And I haven't seen it since it probably first came out. And I was nervous to watch it, but it holds up so good. And like, as barely an adult, probably not even an adult movie person watching when I saw this movie, compared to now, like it holds like some kind of emotional connection to it that I didn't have when I originally watched it. And I think that this is a really great representation of what it is to be a young woman figuring out what it means to become a young woman, in addition to having a bunch of shit going on in your world and having to juggle all of that stuff. It transitions all of this stuff. And I know that's not what this movie is about, but it transitions all of that
That's what it's about for you.
really beautifully and really realistically and respectfully. And I just think that this is a really good movie. And unexpectedly, I enjoyed this way more than I thought I would this week. So I'm going to give it 4.5 plants out of 5.
Les Plants.
Le Place.
Le plants.
Nice. Kadish, is this a 5-star movie for you?
For me, yes.
All right.
Basically, the performances in this movie are top notch. Natalie Portman, Gary Oldman fucking steals the show. This is Luc Besson's best film. Everything about this movie is masterful. Like I love it. To me, on every level, it's a 5-star movie.
Well, that was very concise. Yeah, I have to agree. I think this is a 5-star movie for me. I watched it 3 times this week. 3 freaking times. And each time, every note hit for me. And I know, like we talked about early on, how like kind of could have gone real south real quick with Natalie Portman and Leon like doing their thing. But I think it wrote it perfectly to where you were talking about how what it feels like to be a young girl versus, you know, the father figure and stuff like that. The action, as far as like just like the dude part of it, is like freaking awesome. All the shootouts are great. All the assassinations are freaking dope. It's very like just on point. There's no flashy stuff about it. It's just like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you. Boom, you're dead. Like it's got that like element to it where it's got a realism and a fun, cool action movie aspect, but it also hits every emotional note that it tries to hit perfectly. I love this movie. It's amazing. Natalie Portman's incredible. All the cast is incredible. Everybody works. Everything's great about it. I have no salt to give about this movie.
No salt for the margarita, buddy.
No salt on the margarita. It's just a damn good movie, and I had a blast watching it all 3 times this week, and I highly recommend it. You're freaking high, dude. Get out of here.
3 times.
Okay, so we talk a lot about like lazy writing for characters, and that
Right.
happens a lot with female characters, especially when they're being written in like an action movie genre.
Yeah.
And I just want to give additional credit because her character could have really been glazed over to make it easy.
She's the main character.
And there was a lot given to her character that was just in addition to anything that could have been done, which is a lot of the characters that we see today that are being made.
Oh, we'll talk about it in Hitman.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Luc Besson's really good at writing female characters, and a lot of his movies are kind of based around like these. I wouldn't call them like strong in the sense that you know they can kick butt, even though like they do, but like just these multi-layered female characters that are believable. You know, like he's really good at that.
yeah, I totally agree.
It was amazing. It was just
Shut up, dude. Shut up.
amazingly acted. Everybody was just on point. They read their lines really well. You know,
Come on, bro. You're not going to give Gary Oldman a half a star.
It was
Give,
just,
all right,
it was
look.
just a fucking the best movie ever made in this genre of movies. It was incredible.
You mean le genre?
Le genre.
Le genre.
You know, Gary Oldman was just. It was Gary Oldman just peak Oldman, man. It was amazing.
I love how
I
you just
don't know how he could ever top this performance because you know it was just like God came down from heaven and inserted himself.
You mean Le God?
into Gary Oldman's body and acted
Created serious laugh.
this role. You know, it was just the best French fucking movie I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, it was really good.
I love that you take the piss out of everything we say.
It was
I love it.
amazing.
If you're going to
great.
say the code word of the day, you better crack open that beer.
Hold on.
Don't steal my bubble.
You
man.
don't even
not
like your
yours.
bubble gum. Yeah, this was God's gift to moviedom. It was amazing. It was just
Is it a 5-star movie?
no fuck no. It's 3 fucking stars. And yeah, you guys are all you're high. Okay, it's not even a fucking nerd movie. You don't even know we watched it.
Oh, dude. Okay, yeah. We will make some course corrections going forward. We need to get back to
You
some
want me to hit
stuff.
him in the temple with my gun?
Yes.
This award-winning bullshit movies. I mean, come on. It's like, ooh. It's like, Luke, fucking whatever, Jude, smack me. I don't care. I might like it. But it's whatever.
Okay.
You fucking.
All right, that's it for Leon the Professional. Who do you agree with? We are not worthy. Do you agree with Vader? Comment below. Let us know if we're just freaking on some kind of crazy high horse, or you agree with us. Is it a 5-star movie? Because it's damn good, or 4.5. It's damn good.
It's the absinthe.
It might be. I love it though
He's
because
like, I want to fight someone.
oh, absinthe makes him fight. I got it. Cool.